This is the all-new McLaren W1, 1,258 horsepower to the rear wheels, and we'll be getting the first one in the country. Let's check it out. So right in the heart of Manhattan's East Village, McLaren hosted a private spec session, inviting the W1 customers to see the car up close and build out their perfect spec. Now the model on display was a pre-production unit, built purely for design purposes. So no engine, no drivetrain, just the raw form to help customers visualize their vision. Now Jordan, who's getting VIN 002, couldn't be there, but his spec already finalized. And when the time is right, we'll show you exactly what he put together. Maybe you can guess the color. Until then, let's learn a little bit more about the W1. So let's first talk about the numbers. 1,258 horsepower only to the rear wheels. That's through a hybrid system like the P1. Now the combustion engine puts out 916 horsepower by itself. What's cool about it is that the engine is completely new. It is a brand new twin turbocharged V8 that's shrunk in its package entirely. And the main reason is both for weight savings and aerodynamics. Shrinking the engine allows the rear diffuser to start sooner, to come further up into the car and produce the aero that it needs. Now you're probably wondering, how does this thing get traction with rear wheel? That's something cool about the McLarens. Their traction control is insane. We've always been able to hook up the 765 and the P1. I don't know what the McLaren engineers are doing to make that 1,200 horsepower stick to the ground, but it is gonna be interesting. But to get to that 1,258 horsepower figure, they have an electric motor ingrained in the transmission producing 342 horsepower just by itself. Now the electric motor is not for efficiency, it's not for fuel mileage. Matter of fact, the electric motor can only give you like a couple miles of range, but it can charge up to 80%, I think in 22 minutes. But it is purely for lightweight performance. This thing will do 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds. It'll do 0 to 124 in 5.8 seconds. And even though this thing doesn't look like a Senna, it has the aero of a Senna. And that's the whole point of this car. It's F1 inspired aerodynamics. Lightweight and aero get you the performance of a Senna without the massive wing in the back. Now, before we get to the rear wing, which I know a lot of you are wanting to see and talk about, we need to talk about the front because this produces 1,000 kilograms of downforce. I'll put the conversion on screen. But the front splitter is fully active, and this produces just under 40% of the downforce needed for the car. This does a lot for the stability of the car on a track under hard braking going around a turn. I'm sure by now you guys have seen the door panels and the insane ducting and design through the door panels to keep the air along the body into the rear radiators. This car only weighs just a hair over 3,000 pounds. So the power to weight ratio is absolutely insane, which helps this car get to the top speed of 217, which is electronically limited, by the way. So you might wonder about this piece right here. Now that's called the flow diverter. Now the reason you need it is because it's not like the Senna where the wing sits way up here. You have to divert the air down the body cooling the engine, and then hitting the rear wing. So right now, it's in its stow mode. Now this is fully folded up into the car, but you can also drive it in a road mode, which extends the wing slightly up, but not fully extended. And I'll get to that in just a second. But what I think looks the coolest, and to get the full effect out of the wing, you have to put it in race mode, which extends the wing all the way out. And then obviously the car will lower. Now I learned there is one really cool thing, but also one really big caveat with the wing. Here's the cool thing. So when you park the car, you can put it in race mode. The car will lower, the wing will fully extend out. You can also do it from the key fob. So if you really want to show off, you can put the car in race mode from your key fob. Now, the one big caveat with the wing, because of federal regulations, you cannot drive this car in race mode on the road. I mean, this car is gonna be geo-fenced. So if you are on a public road, it will not let you put it into race mode. Now, if you're on a private track, if you're on a private road or anything, you can drive it in race mode. Now, before we dive into the interior on this car, there's a couple more things on the outside I wanna focus on. We'll talk about the wheel choices in a second, but something McLaren typically doesn't do is put pushrod suspension on the front, combined with 3D printed control arms and special parts to help with weight and aerodynamics. Now the rear is typical double wishbone suspension for McLaren, all adapted to the race modes, which will be a new one called Race Mode Plus, which is specifically for very smooth tracks, but at the cost of stiffness. As for the wheels, there are two design options. Now you guys have seen these, it was on the Papaya car, but you can get these in a range of finishes. Now there's one other option, which is a center lock magnesium wheel. You can only get that in like a stealth gray at the moment because of materials, but it saves a little over 50 pounds in weight across the car. And as we continue to talk about lightness and aerodynamics, this has the brand new Aerocell, which is a full brand new carbon tub from McLaren built in-house. So the Artura had one, and now this has one as well. So since this is a pre-production model, the new anhedral doors, we're gonna keep open for this. So let's take a look at the interior. So you might know the new interior has fixed seats. Now to compensate for the seat being fixed, the wheel and the gauge here will be able to move forward and back, up and down, and then the pedal box will move forward and back, just like in the Ford GT. So it is a bit snug for us bigger guys, but it's not that bad. It's better than the P1 overall. And having this optional glass roof in the door is gonna make it feel nice and open. So let's kind of talk about the view from the driver's seat. So obviously you got this new wheel, and then like the P1, you have your boost button and your arrow button. And with this new setup, it'll be kind of like the Artura. So you're gonna have your handling profile right here and your powertrain on the other side, so you can quickly change the dynamics of the car. And then like in the Senna and the Sabre, your start-stop button will be up here, along with your race modes and your drive indicators. You'll have your windows up, down. Speaking of windows, this does have windows like the Sabre. They are half height solely for aerodynamics because of the way the door is shaped, but they're actually a little bit bigger than what they are on the Sabre, the Senna, and the Speedtail, which is cool. So let's talk a little bit about convenience features. You have two full cup holders right here, which is actually saying a lot for supercars and hypercars. You're gonna have CarPlay as well, which I know is a major necessity these days, and an optional Bowers & Wilkins system. Now, because of the aerodynamics of the car, you are limited a bit on storage, but you do have this new storage area right behind the driver's seat and the passenger seat. So the headrest will actually flip down, and you can fit quite a bit back there. You have a nice material to keep things from sliding and to strap. I could probably shove a couple backpacks back there and a couple helmets. So it's a decent amount of space. In terms of just cool things on the interior, I absolutely love this light up here and the light down here on the cup holders. And then a cool thing about the cup holders, these actually can slide back out of the way so you have more storage. You don't have to have them if you don't want them. One of the cool things about ambient lighting too in this car is you'll have footwell lighting as well, and all the cars will have the new internet material on the doors, which will have custom LED lighting that you can shine through the material, and so it's going to be fully customizable. Something kind of similar to like the Rolls-Royce stars on the roof. You have an upgraded lift system in here like in the Artura. It's just a push button and it's very quick. Oh, and you have a new single wiper, which I'm sure you've seen on some other super and hypercars. Also, another thing on the steering wheel is that you now have shift lights integrated into the wheel, which we didn't have before. So like I said in the cabin, the headrest can fold down. The button is right here, and all you gotta do is press it and then pull it down, and you got access. So it's super easily accessible. So you're probably wondering what all this costs. So the car starts at 2.1 million and goes up with options. But guess what? All 399 being made are all currently sold. Hopefully with this car being very early in the production, you're gonna be able to see this at the Event 5 in 2026. But we'll confirm that later when we know. So seeing this car in person definitely was a different experience and put to bed any worries I had about it. So do you guys think, is this a worthy successor of the F1 and the P1? I think so. But with this car, since the wing, oh, it's Chad. Chad's making all that noise over there. Gotta wait for them